Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how to make DIY bath bombs. I start the DIY bath bombs by dyeing the Epsom salt. To do this, I add a half cup of Epsom salt to a bowl and add in liquid food coloring. I want the first bath bomb that I make to be blue with peach colored crystals in it, so I add in 4 drops of red food coloring and 2 drops of yellow food coloring. Then I mix this together well with a fork. Once it's well mixed in, I set the bowl of Epsom salt to the side to dry. It's important that the food coloring has time to dry onto the Epsom salt before mixing this in with the other dry ingredients. Otherwise, this food coloring can dye the other ingredients, which we don't want to happen. While the Epsom salt dries, I combine 1 cup of baking soda, half a cup of citric acid, and half a cup of cornstarch. I mix these together well and then work on combining the wet ingredients. This recipe will make 6 large bath bombs. To prepare the liquid ingredients, I start with picking the essential oils. For this set of bath bombs, I'm going to combine lavender, bergamot, and ylang ylang. In a separate bowl, I combine 2 tablespoons of oil and 2 teaspoons of water. I like to use avocado oil because it has vitamin E, which is great for your skin, but you could also use other oils like coconut oil. Then I add 4 drops of blue food coloring and 2 drops of green food coloring. Then I add a total of about 15 drops of essential oil. Since I'm using 3 different scents, I split this evenly between the 3 oils. The combination of these 3 oils will be great for a relaxing, soothing scent. Then I stir all of the liquid ingredients together. The food coloring won't dissolve completely into the liquid, but that's okay because it will still color our dry ingredients when we mix it all together. I stir in the Epsom salts with the dried food coloring into the other dry ingredients before adding in the liquid ingredients. I slowly pour the liquid ingredients into the dry ingredients while I'm stirring. It's important to stir while I'm doing this and also not to pour too much of the liquid into one spot at the same time because you can actually start the chemical reaction of the liquids with the dry ingredients, and we want to maintain all of that fizziness for when we actually use the bath bomb in the water. I keep stirring this together until all of the liquid ingredients are incorporated into the dry ingredients. It should be a loose and crumbly mixture, but you shouldn't have balls of liquid. Where I have liquid clumped together, I'll actually press it through the tongs of the fork, similar to how you would cut cold butter into flour when you're making pastry. That's one of the reasons that I prefer using a fork to mix this together. To form the bath bombs, I scoop some of the mixture into the first half of my mold. These are molds specifically made for bath bombs, which are great because they have the dividing line. However, you could honestly use anything to form these molds as long as you can get the bath bomb out. Then I firmly press down on this to pack the mixture into the mold. I repeat this with the other half of the mold, and then I sprinkle some extra mixture on top of both halves of the mold just to make sure that when I press these together, there's enough extra powder to fill in any missing spaces and make a full sphere. I press the 2 halves together and then I slightly twist the halves just to knock out any of the extra powder while I'm pressing together and making sure that this forms a mold exactly to the size of the 2 halves. I apply pressure to the mold for 15 to 30 seconds and then I release the top half of the mold. And here you can see it turned out great. Then I flip the bath bomb upside down and release the other half of the mold by lifting up from the top. I like to use a wire rack to rest the bath bombs on because it allows the bath bombs to dry evenly. I'm showing this one here to show that it doesn't always work out even after I've made so many of them, and that's okay. If you ever have one that doesn't work, you can just crumble the powder back up and add it back into the bowl and try forming it again. The only thing that you'll need to be careful of is if you continue working with the powder over and over, the oils or any moisture on your hands will get into the powder mixture and cause it to get much more wet. Once this happens, it makes it incredibly difficult to form the molds. The 2 halves won't stick together as well, and they also won't release from the molds as easily. I actually halved the bath bomb recipe when I recorded these videos because I wanted to make 2 different scents of bath bombs and I didn't have enough materials for 2 full recipes. For this batch, I dyed the Epsom salts yellow and I dyed the powder green, and then I used peppermint, eucalyptus, and lemon for the scents. I love these scents in a bath bomb. They're definitely relaxing, and they're also great for decongestion. Another great trick to use if you're struggling to get the bath bombs out of your mold is to lightly tap the mold onto the table. You want to be very careful with this because if you tap it too hard, you could actually cause the bath bomb to break. But if you tap it gently, it will release from its mold and you can separate the two halves easily. I like to make different sizes of bath bombs, but once I'm down to the bottom of the mixture, I normally will make bath bombs just with half of the mold to make sure that I'm able to use as much mixture as possible. So here I've made a medium-sized and a small-sized bath bomb, and I'm just using 1/2 of the mold to form these. Once the bath bombs are formed, I let them dry for at least 24 hours before using them. Now that the bath bombs have dried for 24 hours, I'm going to test one out to show you how they work. I'm using one of the smaller bath bombs because I want to use the bigger bath bombs for myself, but you can see even this small bath bomb creates so much fizz. These are definitely fizzier than anything I'd ever bought from a store before, and they're so much cheaper as well. This small bath bomb continued fizzing for nearly 2 minutes. And of course, the bigger the bath bomb, the longer that it's going to fizz in the bath. The amount of food coloring that I use in this recipe normally just barely tints the water in the bath, so if you want a bath that's more tinted from a bath bomb, definitely feel free to add more food coloring. Just be sure to decrease the amount of water that you're adding into your liquid ingredients by the same amount. Thanks for watching this video on how to make DIY bath bombs. Let me know how they worked out for you in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe to see more content.